Hey, there is a wonderful, wonderful walk that is coming up. We just told you about one. We've got another one. This one is in the battle against diabetes, and we're so glad that Maddie is here with us. Maddie, thanks so much for coming by and joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And Maddie, you have type 1
Yes.
diabetes. Adam Webster here as well. Maddie, can you tell me a little bit about what that is? What is type 1, type 2?
So type 1 diabetes is when your pancreas stops producing insulin at all, which means that whenever you eat or do physical activity, your blood sugars can either go higher or lower. And with the insulin prevents your blood sugar from raising. And with diabetes, you can't really prevent it from going low as much with the insulin. When with regular people, your body will either give you more or less depending on what you need, but ours don't. So we have to give ourselves insulin or eat more food if our blood sugar goes low to regulate our blood sugars.
Now, is this something that you've always lived with?
I've had it since I was 6, so I'm coming up on my 9th year with it in December.
Right, and this is, because we do hear about these different kinds, and I mean, we certainly hear about people who are more or less able to regulate it during through their diet, but that's not your case.
Not my case at all.
Yeah.
With my diet, I can eat anything I want to as long as I'm making sure I'm carb counting for it and giving myself a shot to calculate for it so that my blood sugar does not go high.
Yeah, so you're an expert in something that you wish that you had never become an expert in, but you must know so much about this now at the age of 15. Adam, the walk is coming up, and Maddie, really, I mean, everybody is going to be out there walking for you and so many others to help raise some funds. Tell us a little bit about the walk itself.
So Maddie is what we call a red strider. So anybody with type 1, type 2, or gestational diabetes in the Step Out Walk to Stop Diabetes is considered a red strider. And like you said, that's what it's all about. It's all about, that day is about them. The money we raise is for folks like Maddie. Type 1, the body just doesn't produce the insulin. Type 2 diabetes, now I was one of the 86 million Americans with pre-diabetes, and through diet and exercise, I've gotten myself out of that statistic.
Isn't that something? Yeah, and congratulations to you for
but
that.
Thank you. But I come from a family with type 2 diabetes, and I had to get myself out of that situation through diet and exercise. And this is my second year now managing the Step Out Walk, and I've met so many people who are living with and battling diabetes. And there's so much information out there that the American Diabetes Association provides, and I just started reading the information that I'm handing out to people, and something clicked and said, let's make a difference, because there's great information. There's a program called Living with Type 2 for folks with type 2 diabetes. There's programs for youth and their families with type 1. The difference being, like Maddie said, with type 1 diabetes, her body just does not produce insulin. She cannot convert sugar and carbohydrates into energy. Type 2 diabetes, on the other hand, your body doesn't, the insulin is not working well. The pancreas is not working well. So you have insulin resistance over time. The pancreas has to work extra hard, and it can turn into basically her symptoms of being insulin dependent.
Right, but let's talk about, because so Step Out to Stop Diabetes and coming up, but you now have actually have done this. I mean, this is an interesting story on your part, because I think that really does talk to so many Americans. We live in this society now. We talk about this obesity epidemic. We really do have this diabetes epidemic that is happening now but it sounds as if for the type 2, some of this is preventable, or for a lot of people, if they can get their diet under control. Maybe you don't drink 2 liters of soda with every meal. Maybe you don't, have the M&Ms every day, or whatever it may be. I mean, is that really?
It's so true. Diabetes is really, let's call it 2 different diseases with the same name. Type 1, there's nothing Maddie did to bring diabetes onto her life. Nothing she did. There are some folks with type 2 where, with hereditary, nobody knows. That's the million-dollar question, is what causes it. And that's where all this money is going towards research for prevention and a cure, and better ways to manage type 1 and type 2 diabetes. So that's where we're raising our money. And then we have programs in the community for awareness and different resources that folks who are newly diagnosed and their families can get. But the walk itself is coming up on Saturday, September 26th. Starts and ends at the UMass Medical School. It's the #1 signature fundraiser nationwide for the American Diabetes Association, and the Central Mass event. It's about 3 miles, a little bit less than 3 miles. And I heard you talking earlier about being a virtual walker and how that would. We want people to get out and do
there,
the
that's
exercise.
right. The
You can
exercise is
virtual
part of
walk,
it,
but
the
come on out.
exercise is definitely part of it.
Come on out and walk.
Now, Amanda, you're actually on the committee. I mean, you're very involved now, and so you were really behind the scenes putting all of this together. What's it like behind the scenes? How do you put? Because this is a huge undertaking. What's that like to be part of this organization?
Oh, I love being a part of it.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I'm really doing something to get the word out there and like let people know what diabetes is, because there are so many misconceptions about it. So I love that I'm able to be a part of it and let people know and advocate for
When
it.
you, because I mean, here you are, 15. You've been living with it for the last 9 years, and obviously, you're a strong advocate. Then, when you meet people and you're kind of talking to them and busting up some of these misconceptions, what are some of the common questions that you might get? What are some other people asking you or talking to you about when it comes to diabetes?
Questions I get a lot is, can you still eat sugar? Is it the type that like my grandmother has? I get that one a lot, because there's a lot of the misconceptions about type 1 and type 2, which are the really two different kind of
Yeah, well, I'm sure there are people who
sections.
don't have it who are going to tell you exactly how you should be managing
Yep.
it and what you should be doing. Yeah, yeah, always happens. Well, this is great. So you've got the walk coming up. Have you been able to go behind the scenes at all and kind of see some of the ways in which the money being raised is being put to work?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely goes to a lot of advocacy, which is why I'm here with Adam today. Just spreading the word, getting it out. Also, it goes towards a lot of like studies to make sure to try to find out why we have diabetes and what it really is, as long as finding a cure and also creating more developments that help us manage our diabetes.
We need the cure in your lifetime.
I hope so.
That's for sure, and I'm sure it's coming up. So the money that is going to be raised here in Worcester at the Walk, does that stay local? Does it all go into?
We have a lot of local programming. It's a national organization. We have a lot of national resources that you can get online or have mailed to you from the American Diabetes Association. But Maddie, for example, goes to a camp for young people with diabetes. And there's a camp in the Joslin Camp for boys in Charlton, and the Oxford Barton Camp. We support that. The ADA the American Diabetes Association has camps throughout the country as well. And Maddie just spent a couple of weeks at camp. And, it's great to be able to get this money and give it back to the local community. So we're asking people to come out. Please fundraise if you can. Come out and walk and support this great event. We have Wally from the Red Sox coming out. We've got the champion Bravehearts will be there. Everything we can have. Diabetes.org/StepOutCentralMA for more information.
You bet. And all the information has been up on the screen as well. Thank you so much for coming by and telling us about it, Adam. Thanks for stopping by, and thank you as always for joining us right here on the Hank Stolz Experience.
And take a giant step outside your mind. You stare at me in disbelief and say, for you there's no relief.